We've all been there. You're scrolling through your phone late at night, and a name pops up. A name that, years ago, was permanently attached to your daily life. This was the person who knew your darkest secrets, the one you shared endless inside jokes with, the one you swore would stand right beside you at your wedding, or walk through the fire of life with you. But today, you don't even know what city they live in. You hesitate for a second, your thumb hovering over the screen, feeling a strange, hollow ache in your chest. Before you slowly scroll past. It wasn't an explosive fight. No one betrayed anyone. There was no dramatic falling out or screaming match. It was just silence. A slow, agonizing, microscopic evaporation. One day you were talking every hour, and the next, you were just viewing each other's lives through Instagram stories. Why does this happen? Why do the deepest, most profound friendships we form often dissolve into absolutely nothingness? Today, we are going to look past the polite, surface-level excuses of just being too busy and confront the brutal, uncomfortable psychological truths about why we lose the people who once meant everything to us. The first brutal truth is that many of our deepest friendships weren't actually built on shared values. They were built on shared geography and convenience. Think about your closest friends from high school, college, or your first job. You didn't choose them out of a global pool of billions of humans. You chose them because you were trapped in the same buildings for 8 hours a day, facing the same daily struggles, and enduring the same environment. When you spend that much forced time together, proximity mimics intimacy. You mistake the intensity of shared experiences, like cramming for exams or complaining about a terrible boss, for a permanent soul connection. But once the structural scaffolding of school or that specific job is removed, the glue melts. You suddenly realize that without the shared enemy of a difficult professor or the daily routine of a campus, you actually have very little in common. The history you share is real, and it is beautiful, but the foundation was always temporary. When the convenience dies, the connection usually goes with it. Human beings do not grow at the same pace or in the same direction. In our 20s and 30s, life suddenly accelerates in chaotic, unpredictable ways. One person gets married, buys a house, and has children. The other pursues a corporate career abroad, embraces a minimalist lifestyle, or chooses to travel the world. As you grow apart, a quiet, unspoken friction develops. In psychology, this triggers what we call the mirror effect. When you look at your old best friend taking a completely different path, it forces you to look at your own choices. Sometimes, seeing their traditional success makes you feel insecure about your unconventional lifestyle. Other times, seeing their stagnation makes you feel frustrated. Your mere presence in each other's lives becomes a judgment. Eventually, hanging out stops being effortless. It becomes a performance. You find yourself trapped in nostalgia, constantly talking about the good old days because talking about the present feels awkward, tense, or heavily coded. When a friendship can only survive on memories, it is already on life support. When we are young, friendship is cheap. Time is the one thing we have in abundance. You can sit on a porch or in a bedroom for 6 hours doing absolutely nothing but talking about nonsense. But as adulthood hardens around us, energy, not time, becomes our most scarce currency. Deep, meaningful friendship requires emotional maintenance. It demands vulnerability, active listening, and showing up when it is profoundly inconvenient. The brutal truth is that as we age, most people simply run out of an emotional budget. Between a demanding 50-hour work week, a romantic relationship, family obligations, financial stress, and basic mental survival, we begin to hoard our energy. We look at a text message from an old friend and think, I love them, but I don't have the mental space to engage right now. I'll reply this weekend. But the weekend comes and you're exhausted. Weeks turn into months and months turn into years. The silence eventually becomes too heavy to break. It feels easier to let the friendship die a natural death than to pay the heavy emotional tax required to revive it. Sometimes, friendships fade not because you dislike the other person, but because you dislike who you used to be around them. Your oldest friends know the raw, unedited, and often deeply flawed version of you. They remember your worst mistakes, your cringeworthy phases, your toxic habits, and your deepest insecurities. As you go through life, Go to therapy, heal, and reinvent yourself, you might find that your old friends still treat you like the person you were 10 years ago. They box you into an old identity because that's the version of you they fell in love with and understand. But if you have fought a bloody internal war to outgrow your past, being around people who constantly pull you back into your old skin becomes exhausting. It feels like wearing shoes that are 3 sizes too small. To protect your personal growth, you quietly and sadly step away. There is another silent killer of deep friendships, and it's the empathy gap. This happens when one friend goes through a major, transformative life event that the other friend cannot possibly comprehend. Think of the sudden loss of a parent, a devastating divorce, a severe mental health crisis, or even the overwhelming psychological shift of becoming a mother or father. These events rewrite a person's DNA. If you are going through a dark night of the soul, and your friend is still worried about weekend parties or minor office drama, a massive chasm opens up between you. It's not their fault they don't understand, and it's not your fault that you've changed. But suddenly, you realize you no longer speak the same emotional language. You feel lonely while sitting right next to them. And that is the loneliest feeling in the world. Losing a close friend to the slow drift of time is a very unique, confusing kind of grief. There is no closure, no funeral, no text message saying, "We are done," and no clear reason to mourn. It is just a ghost in your contact list. But perhaps the final, most liberating truth is this: a friendship doesn't have to last forever to have been a total success. Some people are meant to be beautiful chapters in your book, not the entire story. They were there to teach you how to love, how to laugh, how to survive a specific, difficult season of your youth. Just because a chapter ended doesn't mean the book is ruined. So, if you have a friendship that is currently slipping away, you have 2 choices. You can either pay the price, swallow your pride, send that vulnerable text, and fight to bring them back into your life. Or, you can accept the beautiful, tragic transience of human connection. You can look at their picture, smile at the memories, thank them silently for who they helped you become, and gracefully let them go. Thank you for spending these few minutes with us. If this video brought a specific face to your mind, feel free to share your story in the comments below. Sometimes just writing it out helps with the closure. If you found value in this deep dive, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. We explore the complex, quiet corners of the human experience every single week, and we'd love to have you along for the journey. Until next time, take care of yourself and appreciate the people who are in your current chapter.